Roy, welcome. Where are you and how many kids do you have and how old are they?
I am just west of Boston and I have three kids, 12 and a half, 13 and a half, and 15. So three teenagers.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what are the biggest issues you faced as a parent over the last few months since the pandemic started?
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of questions. I'd say for the teenagers, they really miss their friends, physically getting together. Teenagers like to cluster and clump, obviously. And yeah, they don't distance. That's so true. And the reality is my teenagers and teenagers nowadays versus when we were growing up are very connected. I like to say that there's groups of teenage girls and boys walking around my house in the hands of my teenagers. Like you have a bunch of people on the phone at the same time, all catching up and chatting and talking. Luckily, my three, their sports have happened. So I have a cross-country runner, my son, a field hockey player, one of my daughters, and a soccer player. And so locally, those sports have been happening. Wow. Not exactly the same with masks on, different sets of rules, no heading in football, blah, 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 but happening. So that's been good and lucky.
Are they playing indoors or outdoors?
Outdoors. Everything's, and that's why those three sports have happened: cross-country running outdoors, field hockey outdoors, and soccer outdoors. Sorry, I said football because I lived in the UK for 12 years. Okay. So I messed those up. Anyway, so yeah, so that's been advantageous. There's been a lot of uncertainty, right? It's not just the pandemic. I have a friend who says we're having 1918, 1929 and 1968 all at the same time. Yeah. Right? And so there's a lot of discussions and questions about that, like, how, the economy, political environment, social unrest, and Black Lives Matter, and COVID on top of it, right? It's a lot of uncertainty.
Tell us, have your kids been, like, how long were they home for? Are they home now? Are they in school?
So left school in March, finished school fully remotely, went through the summer and started back in a hybrid. So they are 2 days on, 2 days off with a bridging day on Wednesday. I would say, and by the way, so the days on, days off, it doesn't mean they're not going to school. It means half the class is on a Zoom screen and half the class is in class, and then it flops. And the other half goes to physical class and the other half's on the Zoom screen. I'd say it's highly variable, right? So both teacher and student, some teachers have embraced it and have made good use of it and are doing really well with it. And the same with students. My son does much better in person. If he's on his screen for class, it's not unlikely that Minecraft is also running on the side.
Our 8-year-old figured that out very quickly last year. How to run Zoom and how to play a game.
Yeah, so, and all three of them undoubtedly are chatting to their friends in the class with them at the same time. They're multi-device, right? The Zoom might be in front of them, but they all have in their hands below, they've got their phone where they're chatting with classmates.
And are they seeing friends?
That's crazy.
Yes, they did Halloween. Each of them got together with like less than 10 friends in some regard, mostly wandering around collecting candy, doing that. So Halloween happened. It's, as I said, the sports is happening, which is helpful. The friend thing, we've definitely had a lot, I would say, get-togethers, but it's usually 3 to 5 friends max.
Is it a bubble? Again, is it the same 3 to 5 friends that we see, or are they mixing?
Well, is it a bubble? Yeah, it's a same group of friends, but I don't know where those parents are going. Yeah. There's no such thing as a bubble, right? And this is the thing we're realizing is that, and it goes all the way up. President, governor, mayor, superintendent of the school, all having different, and then families, all these different levels. I like to say, it's like imagining that you can have a peeing section in your swimming pool. It's not so effective at having clean water. So yeah, it is a limited number of friends, but you only need one person to be outside their circle and interact with one UPS driver to change the game, right?
Yeah.
What's good about us is the school has been running testing. So all the students were tested at the beginning of the school year. And actually today, they began a new testing system that uses saliva. So it's a saliva-based system, and they're doing sort of not herd immunity. They're doing group testing.
Yeah.
So different
Wow.
groups are being tested, and if they get a positive in that group, then they'll do a more accurate test.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Does
Yeah,
that,
so-
does that
so-
give
so-
you some sense of relief as a parent? Does it make you feel more confident sending your child to school?
Yeah. Yes, to some degree, yes. It's better to know than to not know. No question. Right?
Yeah.
Is it gonna change the risk factor? Possibly. We don't. So my parents and my wife's parents are not near us, so we don't have that concern. But others do. You know, they have grandparents either in the house or nearby. The reality is it affects all ages. Yes, the people who were dying were older, but that number's coming down now.
Yeah.
On the averages, right? So I still consider it very high risk. We're very diligent. We have masks everywhere, and we wear them constantly, and we make disinfecting hands in and out of the car and blah, blah, blah. I think we're very lucky. We're sitting in a lucky position. We're in a school that can do it. Pretty much everyone's got connectivity. And I personally feel very lucky that I have teenagers. Like, I cannot imagine parents with children under 10. Under 10, school is a lot about socialization.
It's a lot.
It's not,
Yeah.
I mean, you trying to sit a 6-year-old in front of a screen all day, like,
It doesn't work.
that's not gonna happen.
It doesn't translate. I have a question because Milan is now 9, but he was 8 until a few days ago. It was grade 3 last year when we were living the remote life. And so we had that experience. As a parent of teenagers, have you seen your kids disappear into their devices? Has the interaction with technology changed an incredible amount?
So we need to be more, so we as parents have had to be more flexible around device use.
Yeah.
Right? So like screen time, I like using screen time, but it's hard to manage because I'm using YouTube for research. It's probably true. Maybe not constantly true. You know what I mean? The other amazing, so my 15-year-old, my son, I hear him watching things that are just amazing. Look, we're at a time where all of human knowledge is at the tip of your fingers. Any question you have, you can get answered immediately. So he is watching incredible videos about astrophysics, about our election system. And so I would say half the time, if I overhear a video, he's educating himself about something. He just decided he didn't know something and he wants to go find out, which is great. The other half of the time, he's watching someone gaming on Minecraft or something like, you know.
So is Milan.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. I mean, look, of all the games, Minecraft's great. It's a massively creative, uncharted game. They can do all sorts of amazing things. A lot of my son's coding ability initially started with Minecraft.
That's right. Same with ours.
You know,
And we're hopefully gonna have a Minecraft breakout for kids running during our Surviving the School Year event, which incidentally is on Saturday, November 21st. But we have that's in the works because it's again one of these very universal games for kids.
My brother has 2 daughters who are younger now. They're 6 and 8 now. And the 5 of them, my 3 kids and my brother's 2 kids, all get together weekly on Minecraft and play.
That's amazing.
And they're
Amazing.
And they're in New York. They're not local, you know. But they have a play date in Minecraft where they run around together and mostly blow things up. But sometimes they build stuff.
Last question. What do you see as the big issues you'll have to navigate as a parent in the next few months?
I think the biggest issue overall is unspoken stress. So that's my biggest concern. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of worry that they don't necessarily talk about. They know that people are getting sick and dying, but we don't know anyone directly who's died. They know that there's political unrest and they can't avoid it on the news or any streaming, but they haven't seen it directly. Like my middle child, my eldest daughter is very into the Black Lives Matter movement. She and I, at the beginning of the pandemic, went to a few protests, and she's very concerned about that. She's very concerned about the disproportionate effect of COVID on those groups. Yeah. So there's just a lot of, and in fact, of my 3 children, my middle child, my oldest daughter, would bottle up stress a bit more. Like she might not talk about it necessarily, but she might not be sleeping well as a result. She might be anxious, this kind of thing. I actually, so a positive side effect, much better sleeping, right? Like they're getting the sleep they need because we don't have to get up at the crack of dawn for a bus that is 2 hours before the bus school time start. The ability to sort of roll out of bed and roll into class is advantageous.
That's a win. I agree, especially in the middle of winter.
That's awesome.
Well, and also we also know that teenagers need more sleep, and our school system is not set up for it. They're supposed to be sleeping more and getting up later, and school is demanding they get up at 5:45 or 6 o'clock to make the bus. When the reality is school doesn't start till 7:45 or 8.
Even that's absurdly early.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Even that is too early. But
I used to be late a lot.
Salim would be late every day.
But that's an advantage, right? They roll out of bed and roll into class. If they're awake 5 minutes before class starts, that's good enough to use the bathroom and sit down in front of the Zoom. That works out.
That's
excellent.
amazing.
Roy, thank you for your time. It's been great to connect with you, and we'll see you at the event.
Yeah, sounds great. Great talking to you guys. Keep going.
All right, take care.
Thanks so much.
Cheers. Bye.